Good evening. It is Sunday, April 12th. I hope that everybody had a nice little break this week and that you had a wonderful Easter holiday today with your family and getting to celebrate that. But it is time to get back into our book. So tonight I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 8 of the Watsons Go to Birmingham. This chapter is called The Ultra Glide. Now, since it's been over a week since we've last read the book, I think it's good first that we go over some of the things that have happened recently. Um, Pretty much the last couple chapters have all been about Byron and him kind of disobeying wishes and rules of his parents and even, in other places too. And it's starting to get him into more and more trouble. And as we'll see here in this chapter, the parents are kind of running out of options. Willona and Daniel, they think they've kind of done all that they can do as far as punishments go, and Byron just keeps like he doesn't even care. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the main focus of this chapter. If you remember, Byron has done such things like lighting matches in the bathroom where he was um, making parachutes of like toy army men and flushing them down the toilet. You can remember last chapter he got the conch, which was a hairstyle that his parents had kind of forbidden him to get. And he had done some other things too, and was mean to other people quite often. So they were just kind of sick of everything and sick of him kind of blatantly disobeying the rules. So at the end of the last chapter we read, chapter 7, you remember there was a phone call where Willona and Daniel were talking to Grandma Sands on the phone. And if you'll remember right, Grandma Sands lives in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, if you think about the title of our book, The Watsons Go to Birmingham, you could probably make a pretty good guess or inference as to what might be happening soon in our book. Okay, so think about that. Uh, um, Kenny's parents called down to Grandma Sands in Alabama, and the book is called The Watsons Go to Birmingham. So, you should be able to figure out what's going to come pretty soon. But first, we have chapter 8, and that's called The Ultra Glide. So, I'll go ahead and get started. Before you read today, I did post another kind of introduction to the chapter on a Google Slides presentation. So please check that out first. There might be some references in there in our book that you might not understand. So I tried to put some information about those in that presentation. So I would go there first before you start reading uh, and just kind of look at some of that stuff you have so you have a better understanding of what we're reading today. So I'm going to go ahead with chapter 8, The Ultra Glide. I don't know why we didn't catch on that something different was really going to happen this time. Mama and Dad started acting real strange right after they talked to Grandma Sands. First, Mama started writing in a notebook and adding things up and subtracting things. Then, Daddy and Joey and Rufus and me started driving all over Flint buying things for the brown bomber. We stopped at Genesee Junkyard and bought a new antenna for the radio and 4 new used tires. Then we stopped at Mr. Biller's garage and had the tires put on the car. Then we stopped at the Yankee store and bought some spark plugs and some oil and antifreeze. Then we got our next door neighbor, Mr. Johnson, to help put all that stuff in the car. Then we washed and waxed the brown bomber. When Byron walked by while we were working on it, he said, "Y'all done real good. Still looks like a turd on wheels, but I gotta admit, now it looks like a polished turd." We ignored him. While Joey cleaned the windows, me and Rufus washed the seats, even the parts that were torn and worn away. But the more we washed them, the worse they looked, and Dad ended up going back to the Yankee store and buying some brown and white seat covers for the front seat. The brown bomber looked great. Not almost new, but not almost 15 years old either. We brought Mama out and showed her, and she gave us one of those big hand over her mouth smiles. "Well, folks," Dad said, and we all knew he was getting ready to cut up. All it needs now is that final touch. That special something that sets it apart from all the other buckets of bolts on the road. That one piece of all American engineering that shows that this fine automobile is worthy of the name Brown Bomber. Any guesses as to what it is? A new hood thing? I asked. The thing in the middle of the hood was a long chrome rocket that pointed out over the road. The only thing that was wrong with it was that one of the wings of the rocket was broken off. Like with everything else, Dad had a crazy explanation for that. He told us right after he got the car from Uncle Bud both wings were there, but he had taken it to a special garage and had one wing scientifically and mathematically taken off. When we asked him why, he told us that way, when we came back from a long trip, we'd be coming in on a wing and a prayer. That's the kind of stuff Dad thinks is funny. No, Dad answered my question. It's not a new hood thing. The one on there now is perfectly fine. Joey, what's your guess?
I don't know, Daddy. I don't think anything can make the Brown Bomber any better. I think it's perfect.
Bless you, sweetheart. Rufus, your turn. What do you think?
I don't know, Mr. Watson. I like y'all's car just fine.
I knew there was something I liked about that boy. All right, Willona. What's your guess?
I don't know either,
Mama said, and rolled her eyes.
I think the car is purr.
Mama was cutting up too.
Oh my God, I can't say it.
Real cute, Willona. Well, since Kenneth and Mama have insulted the brown one, I guess that leaves it up to Rufus and Pumpkin to put the final piece on. Dad handed the keys to Rufus. Rufus, you open the trunk. And Pumpkin, there's a small bag in there. You have the honor of putting what's inside of it on. Rufus popped the trunk open and Joey took a small paper bag out. She turned her back to everyone and looked inside.
Oh, Daddy, I love it.
Do you know where it goes?
Yes, Daddy.
Okay, time's a-wasting. Put it on. She put her hand in the bag and without pulling it out said,
And now, the thing that makes this car more perfect.
Dad started helping Joey cut up. He said, The final touch. Joey repeated,
The final touch.
The height of technology.
The height of technology.
The ultimate in American knowledge.
The ultimate in American knowledge.
Mama couldn't take it anymore.
For God's sake, Daniel, what is it?
It's the pinnacle of Western civilization.
It's the pinnacle of Western civilization.
Now, Joey, dazzle 'em, girl. Joey pulled her hand out of the bag and said,
It's a smelly green pine tree.
Mama went, ugh, and walked back into the house. Joey hung the smelly green pine tree from the rearview mirror and scooted out of the car to let me and Rufus smell her fingers. But Dad wasn't through adding things to the brown bomber. On Saturday morning, Joey and me got up real early to watch cartoons, and Dad was already up brushing his teeth and shaving. I went into the bathroom to watch him. I love the way that shaving soap smells. Hi, Dad. Morning, Kenny. How'd you sleep? Dad said with toothbrush in his mouth. Okay, I guess. Then Dad pulled one of his famous tricks on me. He said, Kenny, look, and pointed out in the hallway. Even before I think, my head turned around and I followed Dad's finger. When I saw nothing and looked back, Dad was smiling a mile a minute, acting like he hadn't done anything. But I noticed that his toothbrush was gone. I let him know he didn't fool me. Dad, how come you always hide your toothbrush? Why don't you keep yours with ours? Dad laughed. Well, Kenny, I guess I don't keep my toothbrush with the rest of yours. Because unlike your mother, I was a little boy once myself. I thought about this for a second, then said, what does that mean? Dad picked up my toothbrush and said, look at this. Not only is this instrument perfect for brushing teeth, it has other wonderful uses too. You see, Kenny, I know that in a little boy's eyes, there isn't anything in the world that is better for a general cleaning than a toothbrush. And the greatest thing about it is that with a good rinse afterward, no one can tell what it was used for. I also know that the best toothbrush for cleaning stuff is always someone else's. So, rather than wondering what my toothbrush last cleaned, I think it's better that it goes only places that I know about. Dad was right. I caught Byron using mine once to shine up some quarters, and another time to brush Blackie's teeth. I didn't really care. Blackie didn't like it. That was the only time he ever growled at someone in his own family. Dad was stirring the soap up with his shaving brush, and I got close to the sink to smell the soap. Dad painted his face with soap, then bent down and rinsed it off. I know it sounds crazy, but he always did this twice. He said it really made your beard super soft. He learned that because he used to work in a barber shop when he was a little boy. That's where he also learned that if you go to the barber shop, you've got to make sure your neck is real clean. Otherwise, the barber talks about you like you a dog after you leave. So, Dad said as he put the second coat of soap on his face, let me guess why you're standing so close. Could it be that you want me to soap your face up and hold you up here while you shave it off? It's been a long time since we've done that. Oh man, I'm way too old for that. Besides, I'm starting to get a real mustache. Look. I stuck my upper lip out for Dad to see. Where? Dad leaned down and looked real hard. I can't see it. Here, look. Maybe if you got closer to the light. Dad bent over and picked me up to the mirror. I automatically turned my head sideways when I saw my reflection. Some of the time I forgot about my lazy eye. Well, I don't believe it. If you squint your eyes and look real hard, there's no doubt about it. This boy's got a real mustache going here. I didn't know if Dad really could see it or not, but I knew it was there. He put me down. Won't be long before you and I have to share the mirror in the morning, huh? I couldn't help it. Even though I knew he might be kidding, I broke out in a real big smile and nodded my head up and down. Dad started shaving. Well, just so there's no problems, I've got seniority on you, so I get the bathroom first. Deal? Deal. When Dad finished, he asked me, you too old for a little Old Spice? He slapped the cologne on me and said, I don't want your mother to know I put this aftershave on you. What, with you smelling so good and this new mustache coming out? I don't want her blaming me when all these little girls start attacking you. I twisted my face up. We walked into the living room to watch cartoons, but when we got there, Dad just kept going and said, if your mother gets up before I'm back, just tell her I won't be long. Where you going, Daddy? Joey asked. Dad gave his famous answer, out, and closed the door behind him. Dad missed Felix the cat, Soupy Sales, Beanie and Cecil, the Ray Dean show, and Betty Boop. He missed Mama getting up and Byron getting up. When he finally got back, we were all sitting on the couch watching the worst cartoon ever made, Clutch Cargo. Dad walked in and turned the TV off. Dad! Sorry, kids. Everybody's got to come outside right now. You too, Daddy-O. And you too, Willona. I've got a surprise. Dad made us stop at the front door and get in line one behind the other. Mama first, then Byron, then me, then Joey. Except for bald-headed Bi, we were all laughing and wondering what Dad's surprise was when he opened the door. Following Dad, we walked down the front porch steps and stood on the sidewalk, just like a little parade. I bet the neighbors wondered what the weird Watsons were going to do this time. All right, Dad said. When I say it, I want everybody to close their eyes. And I'm warning you, anyone who looks before I tell you to do it is going to get it. My eyes, of course, would be sealed. If a bomb exploded under me, I'd be standing in the hole with my eyes sealed. Even if my head got blown off, they'd have to say, here's that kid, and yep, his eyes are locked tight as a safe. Byron said I was stupid for listening to everything that Mama and Dad said. But if I was so stupid, why was he the one who had a great big bald shiny knotted up head? Dad said, okay, now hold the person in front of you by the shoulders. Willona, you hold on to mine. This is only going to take a minute. He said that last part because Mama rolled her eyes and was real close to stopping everything by turning around and going back in the house. All right, close them. Mama gave him her last straw look and closed her eyes. Then so did we. Dad shuffled us ahead a little bit, and then we all stopped. It was real hard not to peek. Okay, keep 'em shut. I'm not playing. I heard a car door open, heard a loud pop, and then heard Byron say, "Oh, man!" Me and Joey cracked up. We knew a certain person had peeked and got popped right smack jab on that bald head. Finally, Dad said, "That's it. Open your eyes." What do you think? Dad had opened the driver's side of the brown bomber and was standing with one arm pointing the way inside. In the middle of the dashboard, to the right of the steering wheel, something real big was sticking out. Dad had taken one of our giant towels and set it over the thing. Everybody stood there staring. Finally, Mama said,
Daniel, what on earth is the towel doing in there?
The towel is fine, Willona. Aren't you wondering what's underneath it? Yeah, Dad. What is that thing? I asked. Well, Kenneth, since you seem to be the only one with any curiosity, I guess you'll be the one who gets to unveil the Bama's latest addition. I crawled into the front seat and raised the corner of the towel so no one but me could see what was under it. I couldn't believe it. Dad, it's great! The rest of them, Byron included, crowded up to the brown bomber's door. Mama had a worried voice. What have you done to this car now? Daniel, what's under that towel? I grabbed the corner of the towel. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron interrupted me when he saw I was going to tease them. He said, "Oh man, just pull the blank towel off so I can get out of here. I ain't got all day to listen to your mess." He was always in a hurry to get out of someplace, but never really had anywhere else to go.
Byron, how many times have I told you about saying ain't? And Kenneth, you stop playing and move that towel this minute,
Mama said. I talked real fast before Mama could get any madder. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest addition to the Brown Bomber. I whipped the towel aside. Our very own drive-around record player. Mama went,
oh my God,
and gave Dad a dirty look, then walked back into the house. Joey squealed,
oh boy.
even cool old Byron forgot how cool he was and screamed out, "Oh man, this is too hip! No one's got one of these. Speedy don't even have one of these in his Cadillac. Too much, man. Way too much." Joey and Byron climbed into the car on either side of me. We all said, "Turn it on, Daddy." I kind of knew Dad was kind of disappointed by the way Mama had acted. She really hurt his feelings by walking off like that. Some of the time, I think she forgot how sensitive Dad was. Even though he acted cheery with us, I knew it wasn't the same for him now. I knew if Mama had stayed and hadn't gone off mumbling about money, we would have been having a lot more fun. But Dad forgot all this stuff real quick and got excited about showing off the record player. Dad was like me. He loved putting on a show. Or, as Mama said, we both loved acting the fool. Dad was best at it though, and I couldn't wait till I was as good as he was. Well, Dad said, leaning down into the car. I see you three have the ultimate in taste. I see you've chosen the top of the line, the cream of the crop, the True Tone AB 700 model, the Ultra Glide. We had to, because right on the front of the record player in big red letters it said TT AB 700 Ultra Glide. As I'm certain you are aware, the problem in the past with these new technology in automotive sound has been road vibrations interfering with an accurate dispersal of phonetic interpretations. Huh? Byron said. Dad said, in other words, I'm sure you know that the good old days, every time you drove over a bump with one of these, the needle would jump and scratch the record. Me and Joey played along. We know. And as I'm sure a fine, intelligent-looking family is this one, it is Mr. and Mrs. Watson and your son, isn't it? Oh, no, Joetta said, pointing at Byron. This isn't our son. This is just a little juvenile delinquent boy that we feel sorry for and let follow us around some of the time. Our son has real hair. Even this didn't bother Byron, who was amazed by the Brown Bomber's latest addition. Dad kept imitating a guy who sold him the record player. Yes, as I'm sure a nice family like this one is aware, it was only last year that the scientists at Autotronic Industries made a brilliant, beautiful, breathtaking breakthrough and developed a suitable system for controlling these vibrations. Yeah, I said. I saw it last night on the news. Walter Cronkite said it was a miracle. Dad laughed. Precisely, Mr. Watson. Walt has two of these babies in his car and one on his motorcycle. We know. Yes, the vibration problem has been overcome by the exclusive vibrodynamic lateral anti-inertial dampening system. Dad had memorized that word, because right on the arm of the record player it said VDLAI. Dampening patented. Come on, Daddy. Turn it on. Stop teasing. Now, Mrs. Watson, be patient.
And tell that little delinquent that follows you around that if he touches one more knob on that record player, I'm going to pull his fingers off.
Byron mumbled and sat back in his seat. Before I dazzle you with the symphonic sound of this unit, let me point out some of its less appreciated features.
Oh, please do.
Oh man, just turn the blank thing on! If I gotta listen to all this jive, I'm gonna go in the house and get some real cool sounds. Byron opened the passenger door and ran into the house. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Watson, I'd like to direct your attention to the rear of your classic automobile. Me and Joey crawled up on the back seat and looked out at the back window. On the rear shelf, a hole had been cut and covered with the same stuff that's on a screen door. I can see you're wondering what it is. Well, let me explain. What we have here is, believe it or not, a second speaker. And I can tell by that intelligent look on your face, Mrs. Watson, that you have grasped that that speaker is not placed in the rear deck haphazardly. No, ma'am. Some people think we just have a hole hacked in the back there by any old mechanic. But nothing could be further from the truth. That opening is scientifically and mathematically positioned by a factory-trained technician to enhance the TTAB 700's high-fidelity sound.
Wow.
Byron exploded through the front door with an armful of 45s and Mama right on his tail. She trailed Byron all the way to the car, fussing at him the whole way. I knew she was using Byron as an excuse to come out and look and see what was going on. I guess all the laughing and fun we were having made her want to join in. Now that she was back, Dad started really cutting up. Well, 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 Mrs. Watson, Dad said, but not to Mama, to Joey. I see your beautiful young daughter has decided to join us, and not a moment too soon either. Why don't you scoot over a bit and let her in? Joey loved this chance to pretend that she was Mama's mom. She patted the seat next to her and said, "Come on in, honey. This is really cool." Mama slid in under the steering wheel with a halfway smile on her face. "Wonderful, wonderful," Dad said. Byron lifted the record that was already on the turntable and started putting one of his own cool songs on. "Put it back, son. You'll get your turn. First, we have a special request from a certain young lady to a certain handsome young man. If you'll excuse me, ma'am, I'll just reach over here and get this show on the road." Dad reached past Mama to start the car, but on the way, his hand kind of accidentally on purpose brushed her chests. Boy, did they think they were blind. Even though Dad thought he was being slick, everybody saw this. Mama puckered up her lips, trying to squeeze down a smile, and crossed her arms over her chest. Joey giggled, and me and Byron scrunched our faces up. Mama did a fakety little slap on his hand and smiled. Dad turned the key and the brown bomber fired up. "Okay, young lady, here's that special number you requested." Dad couldn't help himself and started imitating a disc jockey. "Here's the man with the patter, here to spin the platter. Why, it doesn't matter, 'cause the world's getting fatter. I'm the man with the tune that'll take you to the moon, that'll make your poor heart swoon. I'll hold you like a spoon. I'm the man with the jive." Byron chirped up. "Ain't that the whole natural truth?" But Dad didn't miss a beat. "Put your love thing in drive, put your little world alive." Mama slapped the car seat. "Daniel, stop that record." All right. Dad stopped his rhyming, not because Mama told him to, but because I bet he ran out of stupid poems. "But first, let me tell all you people out there in Radio Land that this number was requested by a Miss Willona Sands for the wonderful, wonderful man in her life, the Big Daddy of Love,
Daniel Watson. We at Flint's only soul station, WAMN, dedicate this song to Daniel from Willona. Spin it, maestro. Dad reached over past Mama to start the record player. Joey grabbed my arm with one hand and squealed with her other one. Byron was grinning like a giant, bald-headed kindergarten baby. Mama still had her arms crossed, but was starting to smile. She brought one hand up to cover her mouth. My foot was tapping on the Brown Bomber's floor a mile a minute, and I couldn't make it stop no matter what I did. I guess I was grinning pretty hard, too. Dad's hand touched a knob that had "Start" written on it. But before he pulled his hand back and said, "First, however,